While Dark Road can be considered a chapter close for part of Xehanort's story, the effect he had on pretty much everything in the world of Kingdom Hearts will likely still live on, through the characters he's affected and the story that he had. However, there is a missing piece, I'd like to call it, in the chess game that is the story of Xehanort. Something I'd argue is mostly unexplored, or at least not dived into in extreme detail. I'm not talking about Master Xehanort, young Xehanort, or his nobody or heartless, but rather what he became almost immediately after the events of Birth by Sleep, Ansem's apprentice. Before we get too deep into things, I would like to shout out today's sponsor, ProdigyxCD, which you can download using the link in the description. ProdigyxCD is a web browser completely catered to gamers such as myself, and there's even a cool mobile version of the app called GX Mobile that connects to the desktop version. So I'm positive a ton of you out there have experienced freezes and crashes with your games, and you can't figure out why. Well, it's pretty likely that that's because of your browser eating up your PC's power. Not ProdigyxCD though, because introducing GX Control, you can limit the CPU, the RAM, and the network bandwidth being used up while playing your games. Now, I know, you've had your old browser for years, so many bookmarks and data you want to keep, and history. Look, I don't want to get in your business, but what I'm saying is you don't have to worry about any of that. Watch this. You go to this gear icon, click on synchronization, big word, can't miss it. Then look at that, import bookmarks and settings. And just like that, all my bookmarks and other things are here. Now thank you once again to ProdigyxCD for sponsoring this video and channel once more. Download ProdigyxCD and GX Mobile for free in the description. Clicking that link in the description directly supports the channel and gives us more cool sponsors like this. Now, we're not starved of info about Apprentice Xehanort by any means. There is still a lot to be explored about the character, about that time period for Xehanort, which should have been around roughly close to 10 years, as that's how long the time gap is between the events of Kingdom Hearts 1 and Birth by Sleep. Maybe even a little less by a couple of years, because we don't know exactly how long he was Ansem for. But I would say a lot of the info about Apprentice Xehanort is scattered throughout secret reports, little bits and pieces in some Kingdom Hearts games. They usually only tell us something specific to move a plot forward, so we don't know the whole general scope of what exactly he was doing and some of the things he would end up researching. And I wouldn't even question a lot of Apprentice Xehanort's story if it wasn't for two aspects introduced relatively recently that make you question what happened during his research a lot more, and that is Subject X and Kind of Kairi. I say Kind of Kairi because we already knew about Kairi being from Hollow Bastion and being sent to Destiny Islands from the secret reports. We saw a more specific cutscene of it that alluded to a lot more on Xehanort's end regarding knowledge he knew, knowing about the other side potentially, and purposely sending Kairi to find Sora, not seemingly in an attempt to find Sora himself and, take his Keyblade and ruin his life and all that other stuff, but rather because he was actually concerned about the state of the world, which is interesting. And regarding Subject X, we had Ansem approaching Ansem, oh my gosh, about the girl that they were doing research and experiments on way back in the day while he was an apprentice. These are aspects of Xehanort's story that we were not privy to before. And it seems like during that period of time before Kingdom Hearts 1, while Xehanort was a apprentice, while Xehanort had just taken over Terra's body, there were a couple of things they might have found out about. During that time period, that's when Ansem found out about other worlds, finding out about keyholes as talked about in the Ansem reports, finding out Kairi's a Princess of Light, among some other things. If you have not read the secret reports or the Ansem reports, I highly recommend going to check them out. Some of the few details about the research that took place by both Ansem and Xehanort are in those reports, so I highly recommend them. From my understanding, Apprentice Xehanort wasn't fully himself immediately after Birth by Sleep. Xehanort hadn't taken full control of the mind at that point. But the man that was Xehanort as an apprentice was sort of a splintered personality that was kind of their own person in a way, in a very bizarre and backward sort of way. At least that's my interpretation of it. Apprentice Xehanort knowing about the other side and saying really ominous messages like, "We have failed," which to me shows hints of having a grander mission beyond our comprehension. And this started seemingly with Kairi, and I have reason to believe Subject X might even be involved in that. Subject X might be a big thing that started the research for a lot of this. Based on what Isa and Lee were talking about with Subject X and the timelines matching up in the secret reports, Subject X was around during Birth by Sleep time. So Subject X could have been a key part in what sparked Xehanort's interest in the other worlds, in the Keyblades, and doing a lot of research on the heart and time, and it might have been a key starting point for a lot of that stuff, since it seems like it happened very early on while he was an apprentice. I keep thinking about that line, "we have failed." It's hard to dive super deep into that, because I'm trying to figure out what they mean by that. Considering the time that it was said, it being said to Kairi before Sora and all of them would even start on their adventure, Kairi still being a kid at that point, that likely happened not too long after the events of Birth by Sleep, maybe a year or two at most after. So what exactly was Xehanort cooking up doing all of that? What mission did he have? What grander purpose was there? It's possible that him as an apprentice was giving himself the time to research about these things he otherwise might have been caught for, or at least caught for a lot sooner as a Keyblade wielder. I don't know, at this point I am just rambling about things, but I really do want to hear your guys' thoughts. How do you guys feel about some of the points of questions I presented, some of the mystery surrounding this character? Do you feel like you want to know more about Apprentice Xehanort? I feel like we definitely will, so that should definitely be interesting. But other than that though, if you guys enjoyed today's video, leave a like, share it with a friend or a family member, and last but not least, if you have not already and want to become a part of the union, all you have to do is hit that real subscribe button down below. My name is Prodigy, and I will talk to you guys soon. Peace out, you guys. Bye.
Now she's a daydreamer. She's always thinking